Hello everyone, thanks for taking some time out of your day to visit my channel. So I'm trying a new format at the moment where I do a post analysis. So you'll get my main reaction and then I'm going to let the song marinate for a few days, come back and do a deeper analysis. So now let's go back in time and watch the initial reaction. Now I'm super excited today because I am finally going to get my second dosage of Lorna Shore. So my first dosage of Lorna Shore was To the Hellfire, and that was the first time I experimented with this post-reaction format where I come back a bit later on and do like a deeper analysis. And because there was a massive gap between those two things, it's actually been a really long time. I've just been listening to the one song and I've been trying to resist. It's been very hard. But anyway, some great feedback from that first video, and the what's been suggested the most is the Pain Remains trilogy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the whole thing here. So apologies if it's a bit of a longer one. I'm gonna try not to pause it too much. Did have an issue with copyright last time, so I may have to do something to the video so that I can upload this whole thing, just so you know it's not my choice to do that if I do. Kind of going into this blind, I'm not sure what to expect, but you guys have really hyped me up for this one. Let's get straight into it. Pain Remains. This is heavy as shit. Oh my god. The production on this whole thing, the video and the music, is just outstanding. I was so enthralled immediately. It was like an 80s ballad synth at the start there. the way that comes in with so much fire. Some of the rhythms there are seriously powerful. I just wanted to mosh in my chair just then. I have to say as well, what I did watch, although I couldn't listen to their catalogue knowing I was waiting for reaction, so I did watch some like the interviews with Will Ramos and him on the charismatic voice, and when they put the camera down his throat and all that. I mean, he's a seriously cool guy. I really enjoyed watching those. And again, it just makes you appreciate his insane vocals. I think in the video someone said he's a unicorn, and I can't get that out of my head. He really is. And the fact that his insane screams that are so thick and rounded can actually cut through the mix when there's blast beats and everything going on was unbelievable. I gotta take it back a little bit and hear that again. That was unreal. All right, this is awesome already. Oh, okay, right. Let's just quickly talk after part one. How is that part one? I'm not ready for more. I'm absolutely emotionally spent already. That was one of the most powerful things I've heard. The video is really adding to it as well. It's super sad. God, what was that line? It was like, a world without you isn't for me, anyway, or something like that. oh God, just everything is just 110% from all the band members are going into it. Just, all of them are absolutely insane, and Will is such an incredible performer. Whether it's live or for the music videos, he just seems to give it, and that reflects in his vocal performances as well. So powerful. The lead guitarist is excellent as well. I like that in both songs he had like a soft lead to sort of start things off, and then just crushed it with a very melodic and beautiful solo, which is a lovely sort of dose of, I think I said this last time, a nice, like a bit of a break, a bit of dose of sweetness mixed amongst like just a pure power and agony. But something I really respect about Lorna Shore is, amongst all that insanity and blast beats and huge sound, there's also, you can really feel the harmonic journey. You can feel the melody and the chords and everything. It really carries and grounds everything. So, and it's really beautiful. Like it's so powerful. Those chord sequences and the content and everything. God, I can feel myself welling up. It was just so epic. Oh man! All right, let's just keep going. This is phenomenal.
Just
I'm not 100% sure if this is part 3 or not yet, but I'm going to pause. Oh, mate, this is such an insane journey. This is one of the most powerfully heavy things I've heard. As much as I loved To the Hellfire, I feel like this is hitting me on so many different levels. I'm really enjoying this. I have to say I'm enjoying this a lot more. I really love the first one, but this is so different. This is far more emotionally powerful for me, and maybe it's just the content and the video and everything. Oh man, just like, what some of those lyrics just felt like Will just like cursing this fucking world, he was saying, and oh man, seeing him cut himself, and this story is just so heartbreaking. It's like a Shakespearean or like a Greek tragedy, and just, oh my goodness, there's some of the heaviest stuff. I can't get over it. It's like being in a 10-round fight with Mike Tyson. I feel like I'm just, each blast beat that comes in, each little moment is just like another right hook, and there's so much to keep track of, and I want to just close my eyes and do this, but then I'm missing like the storyline and this video and everything. There's so much happening. I'm just absolutely blown away by this, and it's just that little moment where there was like a lull, and then they did I think they did a slight key change at the end there, and again, it just sounded so ridiculously heavy and epic. I don't know how they do full sets. Like, I'm exhausted just listening, but just how the drummer is able to do that consistently, and all of them are just playing such extreme speeds. But it's got feeling. It's not just, I mean, I've heard a lot of like extreme metal that's crazy fast, but it doesn't really have any soul. But again, there's like a harmonic journey in this. There is a lot more for the ear to grab onto, and the heart to grab onto as well. There's a lot of feelings in all of this. It's not just brain metal or math rock or whatever you want to call it. It's a lot more than that, and it's a lot of things meshed together that make this is such a insane experience. All right, we're gonna keep going. Still a bit to go, but this is just unbelievable. just take a little moment to pause here. Oh my god, you know, I feel like I'm a teenager experiencing metal for the first time again. This is like, that's the kind of level. You know, I've done so many reactions and listened to metal for a long time now. I'm at a point where I am impressed by, like, I appreciate certain things. Like, the more I learn about metal and production, I appreciate things on a deeper level. But I just quite rarely get this feeling of just awe and bewilderment and just shock at how intense something is. And again, it takes me back to sort of being a teenager and discovering certain bands for the first time. But I'm getting that from, this is just absolutely insane. This is such a heavy dosage of extreme, powerful, emotional metal, and it's just unbelievable. Again, this video is really captivating, and you may have noticed a couple times I've just started laughing, and I'm not laughing at them, I'm just laughing at like how good it is. Sometimes it's just like it blows my music fuse, and I'm just I must look like a right idiot. I feel like I'm just having a spasm half the time, and every now and then I just need to like laugh. It's just so good, and I'm just like so impressed. And it's kind of painful as a musician to watch in a way. It's just like, oh, and that last solo as well. Absolutely stunning. And I'm just, I don't know what to say. This is incredible. Let's just finish this. Oh my God.
Look
That was one of the most powerful things I've ever seen. Oh mate, I need a candlelit bath and some soothing music. I need some aromatherapy. Just get me some booze already. That was such a emotional roller coaster. So powerful on so many levels, not just powerful music or sound. It just, again, this hits on so many levels. It's just gut-wrenching story. You know, I'm not even that like squeamish. I'm normally fine, but just seeing, I got so sucked into the storyline that seeing him cut his wrist and his throat just like got me. And then, oh man, this poor guy's been through it, hasn't he? God, he's had a rough 20 minutes or so. Oh man, I was considering how crazy and intense it is. It's funny like how much you kind of get into a trance. I was thinking after the first one, after Into the Hellfire, you know, the first listen, especially if it's your first time listening to the band, is like you're just trying to process everything. It's a lot. But in a way, as you get more and more familiar with the sound, it becomes kind of soothing in a weird way. I feel that way about a lot of metal music. It's meant to be kind of heavy and angry, but as you get more used to it, it's almost relaxing and therapeutic. And I was kind of feeling that, even though, you know, into the third part, even though I'm still listening to that for the first time, after like such a big dose of them and their heaviness, you kind of get used to it and you get into a bit of a trance, and it was so powerful and weirdly relaxing. Like I feel kind of strangely refreshed, actually, come to think of it, after all of that. Like I've just let off a bunch of steam. It was just incredible. Yeah, again, not only am I want to go to see a live show or watch some live clips just to see how they sustain this level of attack and energy. I mean, the drumming's one thing, the bassist and the guitarist, they're gonna have sore forearms after all of that shredding. And also Will, like, how is he able to sing like that on command so well? And I mean, I know I was watching some of those interviews saying that he, you know, has a tea set that he takes with him wherever he goes. I think that's needed. I mean, I know he obviously does this in a safe way. He is able to manipulate all these parts to get these ugly, crazy, distorted sounds, but he's able to sustain it. And again, his performance, both physically and audibly, is really captivating. Just so many moments in that were just filth. Just so filthy and dirty in the best way possible, of course. Just, absolute. Like, I struggle to think of more words than power, but that's all I feel. It just was so powerful and engrossing. Oh man, that was absolutely brilliant. So I can't wait to dissect this a bit more. I need to listen to this a few times, because I'm sure there's so many things that happened there that I didn't quite catch. But overall, an immense experience. My respect for them has just gone up even more. I mean, again, I did really enjoy Into the Hellfire, and I already was super impressed. But that has just taken things to another level for me. That was just insane. Oh. Hi, it's me again. So, as you probably saw from the first reaction, that was a home run. Absolutely knocked me out, incredible. As soon as I stopped recording, I had to listen to it again. It's very rare that I'm that keen just to get straight back into it, because it was just so incredible. So anyway, I've re-listened to it many times, and I still feel a lot of the same feelings I did before. I still have that teenage feeling almost of just awe and amazement. But I've also made a few notes and just tried to give some of my own musical insight, little things I've enjoyed. So when I was listening to this over again and I was trying to think like how to describe it, I think I said this before, that I just can't seem to think of another word other than heavy. But I feel like this is almost redefining heavy. It's heavy on so many levels. It's heavy on an emotional level, heavy on a musical level, and just the whole thing just has weight and substance, an abundance of substance in so many different ways, and it's such a treat. Okay, so I made a lot of notes here, so let's try and rapid fire everything. So let's just talk about the synthy intro. Again, I just love the soundscape. It's so soft and yeah, almost like an 80s ballad feel to it. It's very lush and warm, and it's a nice way to ease you into the song. Now, the other thing I like here is they're kind of planting the seed, they're planting the harmonic seed, they're introducing the chord sequence, which is quite a simple one really. When you break it down by itself, it's I think C sharp minor, A, E, and B, which is a very common chord sequence. But it provides, and I noticed this to the Hellfire as well, they're very good at using sort of synth elements or sometimes the lead guitar to give you a sort of grounding, like a more simple harmonic bass line, for lack of a better word, while all the other elements are sitting on top and you've got the crazy blast beats and everything else. It's just a nice thing that kind of ties things together. Now, I love the way the guitars come in here. The lead guitar is very heavy reverb, and the drums and sort of the more bassy rhythm guitars come in, but there's like a thick filter on at first. And then when they first kick in properly around the 124 mark, they have so much more punch. Just that little tease you get before they really come in with less filter on, and it hits you 10 times more. It's far more effective. Let's give a quick listen to that. Yeah, so just a small like production touch there that really makes that section stand out. And also, I mean, again, we've spoken a lot already about Will and his range, but he kind of gives you a taste of multiple voices immediately. I love how he goes straight into it, and you know straight away what you're dealing with. He dials into like 2 or 3 different voice scream modes. I don't even know how to categorize it anymore, but comes straight into that. Now, what I also like, if we play it on a bit more, is once everything really kicks off with all the instruments, we don't have that same chord sequence. It actually hangs around the C sharp minor. So let's just give a quick listen to this. I'm pretty sure my first reaction, I'm just doing this, and even after like listening to it for the 12th time, I'm still, that's my only dance move I can do. I hope you indulge me here. Don't worry, I'm not going to try and recreate it, but just to talk about the chords, the lead, it's not quite a C sharp minor. I think someone maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I think I think so. I guess C sharp sus2. I could be wrong. That's what I'm getting from that, and it stays on this for so long, so it's kind of like a pedal note or a pedal chord, somewhat drones in the background, so there's a lot of steadiness there while everything else is going crazy. And yeah, we'll get into like how they use that, which I think is really cool. But yeah, I like how it just, I mean, this chord in itself it's not that minor, it's not that major, it's kind of a vague chord, and I really like it. It can be used very well. So I like how it's just sort of hovering around that for a while. And then in a moment, we're going to come back to that initial chord sequence. And because we've been hanging around this one chord for so long, it invokes far more emotion, I feel. They also seem to add in, I think it's like the minor fifth. So like, you go from, and then I think they occasionally add in like the minor fifth. And that's a minor fifth plus the root minor is a great way to have an extremely melancholic chord sequence. Let's just come back to that bit where, let's just take it a few seconds before they reintroduce that chord sequence. But yeah, after a minute of like a blast beat and a droning one note, that chord sequence has far more emotion, I feel. So after all this build up, you finally got the chord sequence again. The guitar riffs here, like this whole section, I think I went really nuts when I did the first time reaction to this. It's so good, it's so genius, because there's a good level of thrashiness. Like he's hitting like the, I guess the guitar or one of the strings is tuned down to a C sharp. I could be wrong, but either way, he's hitting that C sharp low pedal note while doing very quick little lead moments. He's almost painting the chord as he goes, and you're like, just the one guitar is covering a lot of the frequency range, that the low and the mid range there. But it's just so much to listen to, and like extremely hard to play as well. And it also helps keep the harmonic journey going even when the synth drops out, because sometimes you need to pull out that synth so you can so I imagine it's kind of purposeful so the mix isn't too muddy with like the blast beats and everything. So that is really cool. And then when Will comes in with like these screaming triplets, oh, it's just so awesome, so heavy. And again, it's like the whole journey is very carefully thought out leading up to this. So let's just play that little section. You know, I listened to this a dozen times and I'm still noticing new things. I'm actually just realizing that those little higher parts that the guitarist is doing, they're also, I think, mimicking that on a synth very softly in the background, just give it a little bit of unison and beef up that sound. I only just noticed, so here we go. We're experiencing live more things. So yeah, I already mentioned the guitar solo in the first one. Great way to break things up. So beautiful and melodic and with a lot of feeling. Really great way just to give you a breather almost. Even though it's still very heavy and awesome, you need a slight change of mood to give the whole thing dynamics. And then after the solo, obviously they bring energy right down, and Will is basically whispering. But then the scream he does afterwards, it's extremely human and like emotive. You can almost hear his voice breaking. It's not quite as rounded and full and polished as a lot of his screams are, which makes that moment seem like very vulnerable and emotional, which makes that next little section when everything really kicks in, and that powerful line, "A world without you wasn't meant for me." That whole build up, that whole journey up to that point just gets you so hard. A whisper, and then you hear the pain. The face behind the silhouette in this world I made to be infinite, but within the expanse I finally see a world without you wasn't meant for me. Where do you go when I close my eyes? What do you see looking back at me? Oh man, I just want to listen to the whole thing again. I love it, and that just, it gets me really emotional and it gives me the chills. And you also notice we have those same chord sequences, but the chords are basically in half time, so it's sort of twice as slow. Even though the drums and the other instruments are going at a similar sort of pace, the chord, the underlying, that base of chords, as I was talking about, has essentially slowed. So again, that adds to the, it adds to the kind of crescendo and the emotion that ends this first part. Let's talk about the transition into part two, because I love the way the whole thing flows. So yeah, so we're still in the C sharp minor sequence, but we're kind of getting more accented chords, and there's a bit more space in the mix compared to some other parts. And it's good, it very much announces that, okay, this is a new song, but it still flows very well. It's still keeping in line with the first part. Really cool riff that comes up next. So this ties back to that initial thrashy thing I talked about earlier, where the riff is sort of jumping between the bass note and these lead parts. Well, that first time it was all just kind of stuck on the C sharp minor, but this time it kind of switches. You've got like I think it goes like C sharp minor, G sharp, A, E, and B. That's just the basic chords, but they're moving the bass notes while still doing the crazy leads and painting the chords as they go. Let's have a listen to that. And yeah, that lead as well, I love the way that they added that layer on top of everything else. There's so much happening. Also, anyone else that little melody remind you of the Knight Rider theme song? But obviously it sounds just a little bit, not taking anything away from their composition at all. But I really love the way that sounds. That is such a cool touch. So many layers, there's so much just to grasp onto. So in a second, we kind of get a bit of space added to the mix. So it kind of feels like they're almost slowing things down. The drum fill here is probably like the most simple part of his job for the whole song, but it actually stands out a lot in a weird way. It just shows that sometimes less is more, and something simple can have a lot of impact. I just love that little tasteful drum fill. And you get like a mini break around this, so 7:25 in the whole timeline of this whole thing. And yeah, so that little mini break gives more emphasis to that next section that comes in. And then again, we're calling back to that original blast beat, the original chord sequence, but Will's vocals have gone up a level. They go even more intense here, and there's just such a crazy range of layers and overlapping stuff. So they're so good at like calling back to themes, planting seeds, coming back to it, but twisting it and making things even more intense. Let's just have a quick listen to that. Man, it's just, I'm getting goosebumps all over again just listening to this. It's so amazing. So let's take it forward a bit. So here, what I like is they do a little key change, because I guess 20 minutes of basically C sharp minor is maybe a bit much, so they decided to add in a key change. Now, when I think of key changes in songs, they're often pretty cheesy, but this is done so well. This is like one of the most badass key changes ever. So I think they just go up a tone and a half, so they go up to E minor, and stay there for the rest of the song. Just have a listen to that transition. Yeah, so it's still the same basic kind of structure, just 3 semitones up. So E minor, C, G, D, excuse the out-tune guitar. But yeah, you get the idea. So kind of a simple idea when you break it down like that, but they've used that as a kind of a unifying element to tie everything together, as I keep rabbiting on about. So yeah, the breakdown we get next around the 11:16 mark is beautiful because we get more orchestral instruments. So again, you've kind of got the same sort of harmonic theme, but we're adding in different elements. Like that first one is very electronic 80s synth style. Now we're getting some violins, and I think piano maybe comes in here as well. A bit more traditional sounding, but still deeply rooted in that harmony, and it also matches the cinematic moments. Let's just have a quick listen to that. Yeah, because we as the viewers definitely need a moment to process this horrible scene, but how beautiful does that sound? I guess it's maybe a cello that's playing that lead melody there. think it's cello, but it sounds gorgeous. Another little dumb point I mentioned, it's quite funny, I didn't notice this at first, that I guess they're using like soapy bubbles to represent the snow in the first part of like the first two songs. And there's so much of it around their feet.
Bubbles! Oh, come on, Sharon. I'm fucking Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of fucking Darkness. Evil, what's fucking evil? I gotta follow the fucking bubbles and...
I just hope that they are, you know, covering up all the electronics. But it just gave me a laugh for some reason. I thought, oh wow, they're in like a open top abandoned church and it's snowing. That's so badass. And it's like, oh, it's bubbles, but it looks cool. But yeah, so this whole patient build up is great, and you get this the real kind of drop into the sea of fire. We suddenly get rid of the bubbles and go for fire instead, and it looks amazing. It's such a visual refreshment almost after seeing the rest of the video. Let's take it just a few seconds before it kicks back into that, because it really just hits you like a ton of bricks, and everything goes up and up. The drums are intense, so intense and clear. Will seems to always have hidden tricks and like a hidden gear that he taps into. I love it, and god, the riffs, that whole jumping between bass and lead thing just goes up another level with the guitarist as well. So again, just incredible structuring throughout, constantly calling back to old themes, introducing elements, dropping them out again, everything's staggered and it just flows so well. We're going to take it forward a bit to the 16:20 mark. We get this last sort of breakdown style section, and it's ideal for Will because this extra space really allows his voice to come through even more. Like, he does a great job of making his voice cut through the mix, but it's nice to have a bit more here. You really hear the texture, the timbre. It also works well with the video because the guy, like, it's timed with him pouring gasoline in the house. Such a powerful moment. Such a cool section, and like, god, they get such a hefty, beefy sound of those low notes. Like, I can't even hear what note it is. I can't even hear what tuning. I'm like, is that drop B, drop A, drop G? Just like they've made their own. It's like drop X. They've made their own notes with the way it's like timed with some of this, like the like heavy reverb, sort of like the rim of the snare almost is what it sounds like. But it sounds, it's like an industrial noise. It's so cool and powerful. And yeah, so I like this little section coming up because the drummer almost gives us like, there's a bit of a fake out. Like, it seems like things are going to get crazy. It starts to build it up. So this is around the 17:08 mark. And then a few seconds later, it will be quite slow. It really sort of, he pulls it back again, and it's almost like dragging out the melancholy. So I like this. Like, they make you think, okay, we're gonna get another blast beat, and then it comes back again. So let's just have a little listen to that. I felt like this is building up. Just a cool little moment there, because like, it kind of tricks you. There's so many little moments where they sort of lead you on and it does something completely different. It's so genius. So around the 17:50 mark, so we're going back to those synth pads. It feels like such a calm moment. Mixing the strings and the piano. And again, with the video and everything, you're just sort of in a trance. And here we go, you can hear the strings coming in a bit more. It's thickening up the layers. So again, you get a nice bit of time to digest, and there's a great silence here before the next big drop. That scream, my god. So to me, that almost kind of represents the theme of suicide. There's a huge long breath as he prepares. Feels like things were building up, and then it's almost like that's the moment of death at that point by the band coming back in. It's not like full speed thrashing. It's almost like the melancholy has got the better of him and he's almost giving up. It feels like a release before ending quite quickly and then eventually returning to the synth pads around 30 seconds later. There's quite a short time between those two moments, and then back to these beautiful pads. Again, sticking to that same harmonic approach, same kind of chord sequence. Obviously we're still in E minor, just to end things off. And you have this heartbreaking video just to stare at. Whew. All right, I've done my best to kind of dissect things there. I hope that was interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed some of that. I'm sure there's things I missed, so please let me know in the comments if there's some other things. But yeah, it's really cool, like having all those moments of space and pacing in the song to digest and process everything. And yeah, the whole thing, it feels like a Greek tragedy. Like there's no happy ending, but it's kind of a brutal reminder that suffering is there in life, and it doesn't, like, I don't find it depressing. It doesn't get me down. I think, as I was saying, like in the initial reaction, how it's almost relaxing in a way. It almost feels like it's a relief. Like it's like metal is often about facing the dark side of life or the dark side of yourself. And it shows that we can confront it and harness that energy and sort of turn it into something beautiful. And that's kind of what they've done. And they've harnessed that pain and the agony and created a 3-part 20-minute masterpiece, and it's just awesome. So yeah, this is surely an extremely long video at this point, so I'll wrap this up pretty quickly. But yes, thank you all for the suggestion. Absolutely love it. Again, I feel like I really fell in love with the band for this. Like, huge respect for them for the first one, but this just hit me in a totally different way, and it was just a joy. And I've been listening to it a lot to do this analysis, but that's also been out of choice. I've had it on repeat. It's just incredible. Yeah, I'm struggling for words now. I think I've gone on enough. But yeah, let me know what you thought of this video, everyone. Honestly, I won't be offended if you just want me to stick to regular reactions. But yeah, let me know if I should change the format up, or if you have any ideas. Happy to hear from you. Any suggestions for new reactions, I would always love to hear from you. So yeah, if you've watched this whole thing and you stay with me all this time, thank you so much. You're awesome. Really appreciate that. But yeah, if you want to support me, you know what to do. The like button and the subscribe button, that would help me out immensely if you feel like it. Anyway, until next time, you take care of yourselves.